How did Christ approach racism?
He told us to love one another.
Period.
Yeah, period.
Plain and simple. God is love.
That's right.
Yep.
God is love.
And, you know, that actually was the basis for Dr. King's approach, what he called Christian humanism, right? Because he knew the changes that he was demanding were going to be great, and it had to be a change in mindset. But he thought if we attempted to do it by violence, then violence just begets more violence, and the country would be more wounded, you know, because people just retaliate and become defensive. So he thought, he knew that it would not be easy doing it through nonviolence. That's not a road that you do because it's expedient or because you're going to get fast results. He was concerned about changing people's hearts, because when you change people's hearts, you change people's minds. All right. So if people could see, and that definitely happened in the civil rights movement. When you think of the, like, Viola, I think is her name. I can't. Yeah, the mother of three, the white woman who went down to march and never came home to her husband and kids. You know, she saw these kids being brutalized, crossing the Edmund Pettus Bridge, sitting at the lunch counters, just trying to vote, you know, or just wanting to be served. And she told her husband, I got to go down there, honey. She never came home. All right. She was considered a traitor to her race. So Dr. King knew and understood there would be casualties, but he thought that, and including himself, but he believed that in the end, Americans would do the right thing, that if we proceeded with love, that would change people's hearts.
Isn't it through association is the only way that, you know, people can see and actually love each other?
Yes.
It's through association. So if you don't have friends that are other races, then you're never going to be able to have that feeling of, you know, love and humanity towards that other race.
Right. And that's why, you know, the NAACP has always been integrated for that reason. You have to have people who are in positions of power. And those are the people who can already vote. Those are the people who already have access to those resources, along with these people that are part of that community that can express it. You don't want them, you know, running it and taking over everything. That's what Du Bois found. They needed to have, Black people needed to train and raise up their own leaders, but you definitely need to have those coalitions, okay? When a group of people don't have any power at all, you have to tap in with people who do have that power. That's like expecting people who are poor in the ghetto to fix it themselves. All right, you have to have people with resources and things that can come into those communities and work with the people, not just tell them what to do and take over, right? Work with the people who are there because they have ideas as to what they would like and have for their community, but they don't have the ability. That's so in that sense, if you respect their ideas and what they can bring to the table and allow them to develop leadership along with the resources you have, then they can build themselves up. But dictating to them denies them that opportunity to do that. That's why Du Bois became much more focused later on training Black leaders, because when you put somebody in there, then that's no different than this master-slave relationship. They're still subjugated, right? You don't enable them to develop their own strengths and talents. So the people with resources have to work with the people that are there to help them, because they have a voice, but they need to learn the skills and things. You give them that opportunity, work with them, with their ideas, to be able to build their communities. Rather than take over, and then they will be able to help themselves. But you just can't expect them to be able to do that on their own. It's it's what they've learned how to do is survive in areas without resources. And that's what we see, why we see what we see.
Right.
Okay, they've adapted to that. So they've been socially isolated for so long, they've adapted to that. It's like you take somebody out of the ghetto who's never, been inside a university or other types of institutions and expect them to know how to behave. They're not going to know how to behave, all right? But if you lead them, teach them, right? And you have to have patience. You have some businesses, I was telling you, Regina, earlier, that are starting to do those kinds of things. IBM and other companies are coming in when the kids start school in 9th grade, saying, okay, we're going to create some pathways for you guys to get good jobs. All right, we start apprenticeship programs, 9th grade, so that they can learn skills, and when they graduate high school, they can work right for IBM, straight out of high school for $40,000 a year. That's one pathway. Another pathway is that they go on and pursue their college education, along with, doing part-time work and stuff like that for IBM. And if they get their bachelor's degree, they can work for IBM and start at a higher wage. So that's what I'm talking about. So you have people with resources that come in and not just say, oh, we're going to give you some money or we're going to tell you what to do. You help them develop that human capital by making investments with them in their time and skills. And they are able to succeed. Now that's a process and that's a relationship, and it takes time.